Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, world. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Up You with Ezine, your female centric favorite program. How you all doing? How are you all doing? Okay, I was getting a notification, so I had to look at that. So, how you all doing? I hope everyone is good. Our theme for February is empowering bonds. Yes, empowering bonds. Empowering bonds encourage us to be our authentic selves and embrace our unique strengths and gifts. This morning, we will be exploring that theme under the topic empowering bonds through professional counseling. It's up here with AZ, and I'm here to keep you company as usual. So let's do this, my beautiful people. Finding self, finding purpose. My name is Ezine Kufre Kanem, and I'm your host. Yes. As always, I'm thrilled to have you join us today on this episode. Our topic is empowering bonds through professional counseling. A very needed and relevant topic, if you ask me, considering the times we live in. The bonds we cultivate can empower us to break through self imposed limitations and societal barriers. They can challenge us, help us grow, and provide the necessary motivation to strive for greatness. In this episode, we will explore how professional counseling can significantly enhance relationships, enrich communication, and fortify connections between individuals. We'll delve into the myriad benefits of seeking counseling, sharing personal anecdotes and experiences, and offering valuable insights into how counseling can positively transform various aspects of our lives. Remember, if a bond is worth it, is worth investing in, and if it's worth saving, then seeking professional help is a vital step towards restoration and growth. Be kind to follow us on all our social media platforms at Up You with Azine on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and X. We'd love to connect with you and keep the conversation going long after this live has ended. Please like and share the stream. It's one way you help our ministry so that we can continue to serve you better. The topic today is empowering bonds through professional counseling. May I remind you that all episodes of Up You with Ezine are on our YouTube and podcast channels at Up You with Ezine. Be sure to follow us and don't miss a thing. Welcome everyone. As you join in, settle in and get ready. We seem to be having a challenge with Instagram, but it's okay. You can join us on YouTube and also here on Facebook. Welcome. It's time to bring up our guest into the studio. So please stay with me while I do just that. If you're just joining us, this is Up You with Azine, and the topic on the banner is empowering bonds through professional counseling. Our guest today is the suspense, right? Very deliberate. Okay, our guest today is Toyin Soneye, a certified professional counselor, family life practitioner, certified mediator, certified life coach, certified NLP master practitioner, and trainer. Toyin is co founder and lead counselor at the Comfort Brooks, an organization that helps individuals, couples, and families find pathways to deep and lasting fulfillment in their relationships, helping them attain clarity, healing, wholeness, growth, and stability. She holds a bachelor's degree in English language from Olabisi Olabanjob University, master's degree in business administration from Federal University of Technology, Akure, advanced diploma in professional counseling from ADI College of Counseling and Psychotherapy, diploma in ministerial training from Kenneth Hagin's Rema Bible Training Center, Lagos, family systems engineering certification from Institute of Family Engineering and Development, life coaching certification from the Academy of Modern Applied Psychology, Scotland, UK, mediation certification from International Mediation Campus, Germany, and certification in Master NLP Programming from the International Guild of Neuro-Linguistic Programming. She's a member of the African Network of Professional Counselors, associate member of Counseling Association of Nigeria, member of the Network of Family Systems Engineering Practitioners, and a faculty member of ADI College of Counseling and Psychotherapy. Toyin has a passion for the family unit, as we can all see. And she serves as a marriage counselor in the family life unit of her local church. She loves writing and organizing. She's married to Soneye, and their 29 years marriage is blessed with two children. Dear listeners, what a profile, what a rich profile of lived experiences. Oh my gosh. Everyone, please join me in welcoming our special guest to the show today. Good morning, Tony. How are you?
Good morning. How are you today? Thank you for having me on your show.
Morning. You look. When I was reading this profile, I had to be looking up and looking at you. To say, is it you or is it another person? You don't even look 29, and you've been married for 29 years, and you've packed in all this study and all these experiences in your life. Well done. Well done. You look amazing. I'm envious.
Thank you for the intro. Thank you for having me on your esteemed show. I'm highly honored and excited to be here.
Thank you. I don't know why, but we have you as a picture still. We have you as static.
Ah,
Could you do
I,
something
I,
about that so that you can move around like me, your head and everything?
I don't know what happened.
Okay, let me remove you. I'm at the again, and let's see. Everybody, please hold on for us. We're coming. Some technical issues. Okay, so I've added you back on the stage. All right. Now you have disappeared completely.
Ah,
Can you hear me anyway?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, let's try one more time. I'll take you out and then I will add you back to the stage. Check your camera from your end. See, I should have been content with the picture. Now I have a blank.
Wow. Can you hear me at all?
It's amazing, isn't it?
Can you hear me
I can
at
hear you
all?
very well, just that we can't see you.
Oh, honestly, I don't know what happened, and I really
Very
don't know
well. Very,
what to
very
do.
well. It's just
I
your
didn't
picture
touch
that we're
anything
looking for
from this
now.
end. What do I do?
Okay, absolutely nothing. We go on and then we hope that it will rectify itself. Uh, is your camera off?
No, no.
I can actually see you in here. That's in the out of studio, but in the studio, I'm just seeing a blank. Good morning, Adebayo Janet. Please, could you help us? Can you see my guest? Please let us know if you can see my guest on your feed. Okay. Toyin, let's not keep people waiting. We'll keep going and then we'll see what we can do about rectifying that.
All right.
Everybody knows that
All
you're
right.
here. Okay, so they can't see you. They can't see you. They can see just me.
Wow.
Uh okay. Iboro, if you can hear us, could you please tell us what we should do about this problem that we are having? I can't, my guest is not pulling up on the video. Yeah, but Toyin, you can hear me. So let's even continue the conversation and
Clearly.
then they will rectify that for us from
Mm.
technical.
All right
Um,
then.
okay. So, dear listeners, everyone, we have today the delectable, the pretty, the ever vivacious Tony Soneye. I don't know why StreamYard is hiding her face, but we will pull it up soon. Okay, so thank you so much for honoring our invitation. And then if you're just joining us, this is Up You with Azine, and the topic on the burner is empowering bonds through professional counseling. Tony, are you ready?
I am. Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Great. Thank you. The feedback I have from listeners is that they can hear both of us very clearly. So we'll sort out the picture stuff very soon by God's grace, and then all will be good. So, could you please share with us your understanding and your perspective of today's topic?
Through professional counseling. Now, for us to
Mm-hmm.
it's important that we know what professional counseling is, what the objective is, and then we'll be able to see if it can truly empower bonds or strengthen relationships. Okay, so simply put, I'll say professional counseling is a form of therapy offered by professional counselors to provide and support, to provide support and guidance to people with mental, emotional, and relational challenges such that they become empowered, and then thereby it promotes their mental, social, emotional, and social well-being. So with all of this, we can see that when people become empowered, when their mental, emotional, social well-being, and developmental growth are, are are empowered and promoted, they're able to develop skills that will help them to either prevent problems in their relationships, or help them correct, the problems that exist in the relationships, or help them improve. It can be either of the three, but definitely it is helpful in strengthening relationship bonds.
Oh, oh wow, that is amazing. You know, it's very amazing. Your perspective is very, very amazing. And it's actually very I'm delighted to learn that in truth, in reality, that seeking professional counseling can help to empower bonds. And so that means that we're in the right place and having the right sort of discussions. It's basically post COVID, and a lot of us are still recovering from. I think we should even have something called post COVID trauma, honestly, in my opinion, because a lot of us were traumatized during COVID. A lot of things happened during that COVID. Many of us who were like, we want to be able to account for where our spouses are, for instance. We want to be able to know what our husbands or our wives do part time. We got it because they were now with us and everything, and all manner of things came up. We saw our spouses, we saw our some bonds that we have, our children and all of that, we saw them in a new light. You know, having to see someone 24 hours every day, some kind of stresses came up, some kind of bonding also happened, and all of that. And we are all dealing with all of that, and then coupled with the pressures of life and everything that is going on in the world, especially in our country right now, and everything, all of that, and so many relationships took a beating and are not as healthy as they should be. you know could you please explain to all of us, as setting the parameter for this conversation, the importance of healthy relationship, of what a healthy relationship is, even should look like, then the importance of it, and how counseling can help contribute to building it, a healthy relationship.
Okay, thank you very much. Um, Professional counseling can really help build, healthy relationships. So, what's the importance of healthy relationships? Healthy relationships are very important because they can affect people positively or negatively. And so, thereby it can affect their mental, emotional, or psychological well-being. When people, or even physical well-being, because when people are in toxic relationships, it can impact on their physical health negatively. But when people are in healthy relationships, what does it do? They feel loved, they feel appreciated, they feel validated, they feel supported. Their self-esteem is intact. Okay, they have healthy self-esteem. And then people who have healthy relationships also, they're optimistic. They see good even in challenging situations. And by so doing, you realize that
Okay, Toyin,
this
can you
promotes.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Toyin, can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Hello, Toyin.
I can hear you. I
Hello,
can hear
Toyin.
you.
Okay, please, could you leave the studio completely? Let's leave and come in again.
Okay, I can actually hear you. Okay, all right. So
Okay, we're trying to solve that problem of not being able to see Tony and also being static. Uh, she's gone out and she's coming back in. Please stay with us so that we can sort this out once and for all. Technology is good. It just has its ways, and the days it decides to uh, show up itself. Yeah, counseling, empowering bonds through seeking professional counseling. In We're waiting for our guest to come back in, so please be patient with us. Okay.
Women are refreshing wells of courage and warmth. With natural, finding purpose. Now is the time to identify true self, the best of you. Finding purpose by juggling life of you empowers you. With hope and
Minute.
Women are refreshing wells of courage and warmth. With natural, finding purpose. Now is the time to identify true self, the best of you. Finding purpose by juggling life of you empowers you. With hope and inspiration. Stand up, speak up, sign up, shake up, soak up, set up, scale up, of you integrity. Finding self, finding purpose of you. Women are refreshing wells of courage and warmth. With natural, finding purpose. Now is the time to identify true self, the best of you.
All right.
Finding purpose
One
by
sec.
juggling life of you empowers you. With hope and inspiration. Stand up, speak up, sign up, shake up, soak up, set up, scale up, of you integrity. Finding self, finding purpose of you. Women are refreshing wells of courage and warmth. With natural, finding purpose. Now is the time to identify true self, the best of you. Finding purpose by juggling life of you empowers you. With hope and inspiration. Stand up, speak up, sign up, shake up, soak up, set up, scale up, of you integrity. Finding self, finding purpose of you. Women are refreshing wells of courage and warmth. With natural, out the best of you. Finding purpose by juggling life. Of you empowers you with hope and inspiration. Stand up, speak up, sign up, shake up, soak up, set up, scale up. Of you intelligent, finding self, finding purpose. Of you. Women are refreshing wells of courage and warmth. With natural, finding self, finding purpose. Now is the time to identify true self, the best of you. Finding purpose by juggling life. Of you empowers you with hope and inspiration. Stand up, speak up, sign up, shake up, soak up, set up, scale up. Of you intelligent, finding self, finding purpose. Of you. Women are refreshing wells of courage and warmth. With natural, finding self, finding purpose. Now is the time to identify true self, the best of you. Finding purpose by juggling life. Of you empowers you with hope and inspiration. Stand up, speak up, sign up, shake up, soak up, set up, scale up. Of you intelligent, finding self, finding purpose.
Okay, we are having very
Women are refreshing wells of courage and warmth. With natural, finding self, finding purpose. Now is the time to identify true self, the best of you. Finding purpose by juggling life. Of you empowers you with hope and inspiration. Stand up, speak up, sign up, shake up, soak up, set up, scale up. Of you intelligent, finding self, finding purpose. Of you. Women are refreshing wells of courage and warmth. With natural, finding self, finding purpose. Now is the time to identify true self, the best of you. Finding purpose by juggling life. Of you empowers you with hope and inspiration. Stand up, speak up, sign up, shake up, yourself the best of you. Finding purpose by juggling life of you empowers you with hope and inspiration. Stand up, speak up, sign up, shake up, soak up, set up, scale up, of you with dizziness. Finding self, finding purpose of you. Women are refreshing wells of courage and warmth. With not to run, finding self, finding purpose. Now is the time to identify true self, the best of you. Finding purpose by juggling life of you empowers you with hope and inspiration. Stand up, speak up, sign up, shake up, soak up, set up, scale up, of you with dizziness. Finding self, finding purpose of you. Women are refreshing wells of courage and warmth. With not to run, finding self, finding purpose. Now is the time to identify true self, the best of you. Finding purpose by juggling life of you empowers you with hope and inspiration. Stand up, speak up, sign up, shake up, soak up, set up, scale up, of you with dizziness. Finding self, finding purpose of you. Women are refreshing wells of courage and warmth. With not to run, finding self, finding purpose. Now is the time to identify true self, the best of you. Finding purpose by juggling life of you empowers you with hope and inspiration. Stand up, speak up, sign up, shake up, soak up, set up, scale up, of you with dizziness. Finding self, finding purpose of you. Women are refreshing wells of courage and warmth. With not to run, finding self, finding purpose. Now is the time to identify true self, the best of you. Finding purpose by juggling life of you empowers you with hope and inspiration. Stand up, speak up, sign up, shake up,
whoa.
Wow.
Welcome back. Can you hear me, Toyin? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. Wow.
Great. You know, this is how you know that the devil fights a losing battle, because he knows that you're about to help a lot of people. Giving us vibes so that we will not go on, but we are going to defeat it. Let me tell you something else that has happened. My system has completely refused to come on.
Really?
While we're trying to bring you up on, my my laptop just powered off. So I quickly had to switch to my phone. Okay, so go on from where you stopped from. You know, I had asked you about what a healthy relationship is and how a professional counselor can help us with a healthy relationship.
Okay, absolutely. Where did I stop? Okay, I was saying that healthy relationships are very important because they can impact on people's mental, emotional, and psychological, and even physical wellness based on the quality of their interactions or relationship with people. People in toxic relationships, you know, when they suffer abuse, it can impact negatively on their physical health. Now, I was saying that healthy relationships, you know, when people are in such relationships, they feel valued, they feel loved, they feel supported, they have healthy self-esteem, and you know, they are optimistic, okay? And so based on all of this way that they feel, it helps them maximize their potential so that they blossom and the drive. So now, how can counseling help people's relationships? The first thing that counseling will do is it helps them become self-aware. You understand your strengths, you understand your weaknesses, you understand your biases, you understand your triggers, and then more importantly, you understand the areas where you need, you know, self-development, personal development. And aside that, it helps you understand the quality of your interactions with people within the sphere of your influence, such that, you know, you are able to know how to navigate those relationships. What it would also do for you is it helps you understand your past experiences or your past patterns. And then, you know, it helps you determine how those experiences or patterns are currently impacting on your well-being, or how it had impacted on your, well-being. And then, you know, it equips you with tools, communication skills. And that is very important because communication is usually the main source of people's relationship problems. So it teaches you communication skills. You know how to assert yourself. You know how to listen to people actively. You know how to communicate without any form of ambiguity. And then it teaches you conflict resolution skills. So that way you are able to manage your relationships when there are challenges. You learn how to de-escalate so that it does not even become a challenge. And peradventure, you know, it becomes a challenge. The skills that you learn will help you ensure that you manage those challenges such that it does not degenerate into a conflict. And then it helps you set boundaries. You know, boundaries are the way we want to interact You want people to interact with you. You can set property boundaries, you can set communication boundaries, you can set all kinds of boundaries so that, it determines how people interact with you. And then it helps you with emotional intelligence. Okay, it helps you with relationship management skills so that you know how to, maximize the benefits of the relationship you have, so that you connect with people well, so that they can support you and you can support them. It teaches you empathy, it teaches you how to build trust, and then it would also teach you how to it teaches you coping mechanisms, so that peradventure there are challenges that are lingering, how to cope with them so that they don't impact you negatively. So by the time you do all of this, you realize that you're going to have a robust and strengthened relationship with people, because you are able to navigate those issues that come up in those relationships. Thank you.
Great. I'm fighting with everything, all my gadgets here, but we're going to go ahead because I sense in my spirit that there's something you're going to say today that will save a lot of relationships. So now, thank you for that feedback that you've given to us. May I please also ask you at this point in time to please keep it very simple, so that our terminologies, because I heard you saying de-escalate, and I was thinking de-escalate. Oh my God. So because we want to be able to grab everything that you're giving to us. So please tell me, what types of professional counseling are they? What kind of professional counselings are available?
Okay, you know what? Essentially, a professional counselor is a professional counselor. Okay, and it's just like a general practitioner in medicine. You learn a lot of things, and then people then go into specialize. Okay, so every counselor can actually do all of those niches, do things within those niches, but it's just that people, based on their interests, they have niches for themselves. So you find we have child and adolescent counseling. You have people who say they are mental health counselors. You find marriage and family therapy. You find group counseling, and all of them. Essentially, they are supposed to help, people in specific areas of counseling.
We're listening.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Oh, you spoke. You said what types of counseling, and then I think I just said that.
Okay. So now, why should people come for counseling to empower bonds? Where we come from, there are all kinds of myths and all kinds of things that we are all fighting, stigmas and everything. And people do not generally like carrying their problems outside. They rather die in it. But some of these things are easily solvable if we seek help in time. Exactly. Relationships are meant to be worked on, and managed, and there are tools and stuff like that. Why should we break these myths and seek help?
Okay. I actually went into some detailed explanation earlier. Usually people, like we said, people go through a lot of challenges, mental, emotional, psychological, relationship issues. And the truth is that it is actually, relationship challenges that are the offshoot of most of the challenges that people have. Okay, so people should come into counseling because when they come, the thing with counseling is, unlike coaching takes you from where you are to where you want to be. But when people come for counseling, sometimes, their goals are clear and you can help them from there. But sometimes their goals are not clear. And in the course of even helping people to clarify their goals, you take them back in time into their past, that is when people actually realize that some of the challenges that they are facing are actually offshoots of some other issues that they had in the past. Okay, so when people go to people who are not professional counseling, all they do is just advise them. And in professional counseling, we don't advise. You walk through people, supporting them, guiding them, such that, they are able to determine and prefer, their own therapeutic goals that will help them to become healed and receive wholeness. But when people shy away, they die in silence. And you know that when problems linger, they become magnified and they get to impact on other issues. So people should come in for counseling because self-awareness is key. When you are self-aware, then you become empowered. You know how to move from there. But when you don't even know the issues, when you don't know the things that are causing challenges in your life, okay, there's a family systems theory that, and I'll give you an example that says family units are emotionally and intensely connected. And this theory is saying that, look, when you want to understand an individual, you have to look at them within the contexts of their family. And that is the way you'll be able to understand them. So, as a professional counselor, you understand the tools and techniques that you would use. And I'll give you a quick example. Okay, so there was a couple. The wife had been coming in for sessions. Now, her issue was that she was emotionally distressed. And why was that happening? That's because this was somebody that liked to plan. She liked to set goals. She likes to put strategies in place that will help her achieve those goals. But then, here she was saddled with a husband who would just listen and say, okay, is that what you want to do? Okay, we need XYZ amount of money to have been saved up by this period of time. This is what I'm doing in my business. This is how much I would have achieved. So what are you going to do in your own business? And the guy says, I would work on it. I would work on it. And she kept coming because she was distressed. Eventually, the husband agreed to come into counseling. Now, you know that when people are coming, we give them pre-engagement forms. And in those pre-engagement forms, there are questions that you ask. Some are about their background. So before this gentleman showed up, I could already see where the challenge was coming from. It was from his background. He was orphaned at probably age 6. And so he lived with about 7 families. They moved in from one family to the other. And so, how did he cope with that? He didn't like it. So he just felt, oh, maybe it's because I talk too much. Maybe it's because I don't do the things that they ask me to do. And so his coping mechanism was, he doesn't talk. All he does is, XYZ, do this, he does it. He can't engage. And that followed him into marriage. And there's a presupposition in family systems engineering that says, there are no bad marriages. What you have are one or two disempowered people in a disempowered situation. So it means that, the engineering that has been installed in people, from childhood, they carry it into marriage. What they see is what they display. So this gentleman could not interact well with his wife. And so they were having relationship challenges. It was not through any fault of his. But when they came and were able to highlight that this is the source of the challenge, guess what? He realized that was the problem. And then he apologized to his wife and said, from now on, I'm going to try. And what happened to the wife who had been emotionally distressed for maybe over a year? She became empathetic and realized that, oh, this man actually had a challenge. We never spoke about it. I didn't understand what he was going through. So I'm now going to be more patient with him. But this other person also knows that you can't continue to keep quiet. So that's what counseling would help you to do. It helps you understand your problems so that you are able to develop, therapeutic goals that will help you overcome them so that you begin to enjoy your relationships.
Thank you very much for that example. It actually drives home some of the points that we're trying to make today. Because, for instance, in a marriage, we all fall giddily in love. What is that thing they say? Love is a feeling you are feeling that you have never felt before. So when we start feeling that feeling that we have never felt before, we fall inside love, and then we go ahead and get married. And then we do not do those little things that we should do to find out, forgetting that this, our love object, has been raised in a certain way, in a certain culture, in a certain community, in a certain family, with a certain set of values and all of that. It's even worse when we say we met in church, for instance, or we met in the mosque. We just believe that, because you're a practicing Christian or Muslim, that it takes away everything that has been culturally ingrained in you. So you can imagine that this couple were hitting the rocks just because of something they could have sat down and figured out. No, they couldn't have. They needed you to help them figure it out. Yeah, so that's very interesting. And so it also brings me to say that a lot of the things that we are going through are figure out able, but maybe not by ourselves, because I actually wrote something on Facebook yesterday talking about perspectives. And I was saying that because you are the one in the thick of something, you may not see the pitfalls or the hopeful avenues you could take to resolving the issues. You need an unbiased professional, clear eyes to take a look at it and say to you, try this or that, So that's where I think that professional counseling comes in. Now, back to you, Toyin. So many marriages are ending up in separation and divorces these days. Sometimes when I sit down to think about it, I say to myself, maybe the devil is after the marriage, or maybe the devil is after the family unit. And I do know about the passion that you have for the family unit. And that's why I said I was going to ask you this today. What really is a family unit? And what do you think should be done so that we can start to repair the bridge and begin to, have it together again? Because it's almost as if we do not know what it means to be married anymore.
Okay, your first question, you said, what is a family unit? And the second part, what was the second part of the question?
The second part is, how do we begin to repair the hedge, the broken hedge in this family unit?
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so what is a family unit? Okay, so the family unit is said to be the most important nation on earth, and it is the production factory of the society. Now, how do you start a family? Ideally, typically, two people come together, a man and a woman, by our own understanding. And then by the time they have their children, they are a nuclear family. Now, there's what we call, the family circle. Now, that family circle, the smallest circle within that family circle, you have the nuclear family. And then you have the extended family. And then you have the social system. The social system talks about your neighbors, schools, workplace, religious institutions, whatever that means to you. And then before you get to the multicultural level and all of that. Now, all of these units, truly, they are intensely connected, especially for us as Africans. You can't do away with your extended family. And even if you say you don't even want your extended family, you realize that your children go to school. Okay, so they pick up habits from school. People's problems start from the school, through bullying. Okay, some other people's trauma experiences start from the workplace. So, the family unit is intensely connected. How do we begin to do that? That means that, number one, if the foundation is weak, what can the righteous do? So as couples begin to get married now, they need to understand, what marriage is. Marriage, the family systems engineering defines marriage, as the union of a man and a woman, who come from two different nations, okay, to start their own nation, okay, and then, they come up with their own culture, and their culture must give rest to the world. So if people understand that, look, we're coming together, we're starting a new nation, and this new nation that we're bringing together must take into consideration the nature of the man and the woman. And then, we create our own culture. People do away with traditional cultures and traditions that they bring into marriage that are unhelpful. If we can do away with all of that, people create their own system. They build their own software into their own family, so to speak. So they can determine, when you build something, you can determine the output. So new families that are coming up, they need to go through professional counseling so that they understand all of these things, so that it's not just going through scratching the surface. And then, some people go into the marriage hurts. They have trauma they have not seen therapists to help them. They are not healed. And, hurting people, hurt others. It's not intentional, but it's just that, they have carried their wounds into the marriage. So when people go through professional counseling, there are assessments, there are tools that, professional counselors would use. So when people have, what do you call it now? Trauma. They first tell them to go for trauma counseling so that when they are healed, then you come back into premarital counseling and then you can move on from there. When people have addictions, okay, a professional counselor also knows how to help people bypass, their conscious resistance. Okay, that when I come into therapy, it is what I propose in my heart that I want to tell you, that I will tell you. Okay, so you can work with someone 4 sessions, 5 sessions, you're just beating around the bush. At the end of the day, you think you have helped the client to achieve their objective. Haven't, because problem, you haven't dealt with it. But professional counselors know how to use these tools to help people bypass this conscious resistance. And then, you give them assessments, you give them, play therapy. They think they're just playing. But by the time they write out everything, you can fish out the problem and then you can begin to deal with it. So when we're starting new families, we can get it right. And then, of course, what do we do to existing families? When people can truly find healing when they go in for professional counseling. But then the truth is, a lot of people don't appreciate professional counseling. Some people believe that they are exposing themselves. They see professional counselors as partners. So really, a professional counselor is like your doctor or your lawyer. Okay, when you're open with them, they are able to help you walk through your challenges. And that's why we need to let people know, keep emphasizing the benefits of professional counseling, let people know that it is not just for people who are sick, that anybody can go, whether you have deep-seated issues, whether you just have relationship issues or you don't have any issue. People can go in for professional counseling, just for personal therapy. I'm going through a training now, and it's mandatory that you must do 8 personal therapies as a counselor, because it is believed that the counselor also needs a counselor. So when people take advantage of the benefits of counseling, it will help them. It may take a while, but then the healing would come ultimately, but it will take a long while.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's a very powerful, meaningful contribution you just dropped right there. And it's amazing. If we thought about it like perspectives, like I said, I mean, most people will think about it like I'm in love and I've gotten married. And so this, I'm not sure that they have actually given it a deeper thought to say, so we're building a nation. We are a smallest unit of a nation, and we're here to continue building a nation. So how do we want this nation that we're about to birth to look like? So what's going to be the culture? What's going to be the values? What's going to be the language? I mean, come on, it's deep. So thank you, because when you were talking, I was like, Esine, are you sure you don't need this counseling yourself? Because, I mean, you need to even empower yourself before you even think of empowering yourself and others. Which brings me to something else that you talked about, trauma. You know, last year we had a conference, and the topic or the theme for our conference was building bridges from within. And at that conference, we're looking at the fact that a lot of us humans, especially women, are walking around with unresolved trauma as far back as childhood. We've never spoken about them to anyone. We've never tried to get any form of counseling or done any kind of therapy to be able to resolve these conflicts that we have and these traumas that we carry on the inside. And then we go ahead and marry somebody, and then we go ahead and birth children, and then we go ahead and we're trying to raise nations, and then one day, poof, we explode. Everything just goes out of control. And then somebody starts saying, oh, but they had it all together. What happened? They had it all together, you know. And so those are the kind of things we're talking about. Could you please talk more on traumas, childhood traumas, unresolved traumas, and how they can affect a relationship in adulthood?
Okay, you know that hurting people to say hurt others. Okay, so when people go about with their trauma, the truth is many people may not even know. And then, you know, I work with people, and then you realize that as you keep talking, you realize that they had issues. So how do people go about it? Sometimes people know, and sometimes they don't know. But for the people that know, when they come in, there are people that are trauma specialists. I am not a specialist in trauma, but I also know that people's beliefs, the things that you believe, okay, can actually be a source of trauma, can actually be a source of limitation or hindrance for you, because the things that we believe, okay, they determine our behavior, and our behavior determines the results that we achieve. Okay, so when people come and you realize that they are not maximizing their potentials, you want to find out what their beliefs are, because people's beliefs form boundaries around their lives. Okay, it determines how far they can go. Okay, now these beliefs, oftentimes when you work with people, you realize that they don't even own those beliefs. Those beliefs were passed on to them from their family of origin. Okay, so the belief is there. It was what they saw play out, so they take it on, and then, you know, they take that out of the home, and then they are dealing with other people who are healed. Okay, so there is a clash. But when people come, I have them check their beliefs. What do you believe in? When they talk about these beliefs, okay, then you are able to help them on a journey to find out one by one. So this belief, where did it come from? What does it mean to you? Does it help you to achieve what you want to achieve? So by the time they go through that, realize that through this consciousness, they begin to form new beliefs. Okay? Beliefs that will empower them, because these other beliefs, you know, were actually deceptive. wasn't allowing them to maximize their potentials. It was limiting them. Okay, so when they form those beliefs and understand that, okay, some of the hurts that they are even carrying, it was because they didn't understand. You help them give to those hurts. Okay, so in time, because you've given a new meaning to the hurt. Okay, so this person that hurt you might not even have been aware. Person has gone on with their life. They can't even remember they hurt you. So what do you do? So by the time you walk with them through that, they're able to give themselves. They're able to forgive the people that hurt them, and then they are able to find healing and find inclusion. Otherwise, they continue to carry all of this around.
Amazing stuff. Hurting people hurt people. So therefore, if we're in a relationship where we're constantly being hurt, we should explore and ask ourselves, is it possible that the person that we were in a relationship with has unresolved hurts? Because it's amazing. You know, you actually would find, let me use a couple for an example. You can see a couple where the man is responsible, he provides, he takes care of the home. I mean, anything that money can do, he does, but he just doesn't make himself available. He's not present in their lives. There are no shared moments per se. He doesn't do things with his family. And then you can just wake up and imagine that it could be, you could think, without understanding that it's a hurt from the past or an unresolved trauma from the past that he's carrying, you might just wake up and then your relationship will start falling apart when it's something that you can easily resolve. Toyin, are you there?
I am.
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you know, sometimes those challenges may not necessarily stem from a place of trauma. They stem from the beliefs that, you know, people have. They stem from the things that they have seen, you know, maybe their father, their mother, or the people that they grew up with, you know, do. So you find a couple, the man is financially empowered and makes all kinds of, provides everything that you can think about, okay? And at the end of the day, maybe initially, you know, the wife loves this because, I mean, she has a good life. And somewhere along the line, she realizes that I want more than this. And we have issues like that ongoing, where someone now says, look, I am not getting any support from my husband. I want out of this relationship, even separate. And then the man is saying, I'm providing everything. Then there's a strain in the relationship, and you know, this is coming from a place of their understanding. Someone is coming from a place of, yes, you can provide for me, but I need emotional connection. I need you to provide support for me, whatever support it is. I need you to be there so that, you know, we can do things together as a family. But then, you know, one person believes that once you have everything, you are okay. So these beliefs hurt relationships. And they are not from a place of trauma, they are just from a place of, you know, the beliefs that these people have. They come from, you know, the engineering that has been installed in them. So that is who they are until they help, you know, they find maybe professional counselors, family life therapists to help them understand issues that are plaguing their relationships and help them uninstall those unhelpful habits or disempowering habits. You know, those relationships will remain challenged. And at the end, the people realize that, look, I can't continue to stay in a relationship where there's emotional disconnection, there's emotional hurt. So people walk away because at the end of the day, it's going to impact on their mental wellness. And we don't want people going into depression or going into trauma. And that creates a new set of problems.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Adebayo Janet says, I do tell young people preparing for marriage that relationship and marriage is far from each other, as far from here to Jerusalem.
Interesting.
I guess the point she's making is it could all be rosy in your relationship, but when you get into the daily grinding of doing the marriage itself, let me use her word, she said it's as far from here to Jerusalem. Do you have anything to say to this?
True. Because, when people are in love, when you are hearing the drumbeat of death, you don't hear. In fact, you are dancing to it. It's other people that can hear it. And until you find someone who can help you lift the veil and remove the, what is it from your ears, you're not going to understand. But the truth also is that some people have come in for counseling. These issues have been highlighted, but then they opt to go ahead. Yet again, that's where professional counseling differs from some other, from just general counseling. People will tell you, oh, don't do this, don't do this. So in professional, they highlight the issues. I have been in a situation where I told someone, look, these are the challenges that are likely to happen. You may need to work on this. And it's not a problem. They went ahead. Years after, 10 years after, in fact, before 10 years, those issues came up, and at the end of it, they still separated. So sometimes people listen. Sometimes they don't listen. Sometimes, that don't even go in for professional counseling. They can see the issues, but somehow they just believe that, okay, time will change things, but time doesn't change anything. If you cannot change to win someone in love, then nobody is going to change afterwards, because you already have what you have, and you can't change anybody. Change comes from within. I realize that, oh, this habit is hurting me, is hurting my relationship, so I want to change. But if people don't make that personal choice, they don't change. You can't compel them. So marriage is the real
deal. No matter how many times it's said, no matter how often we've heard it, it's just refused to sink in that you can't change anybody. We somehow believe that we can change the men in our lives, and I think the men somehow believe that they can change the women in their lives. And so that's why we enter marriages, we enter into bonds, and then instead of empowering ourselves, we're actually draining ourselves. There's a second one that goes that whosoever you get married, you get yoked to, you get married to, determines how far you go ahead in life successfully or otherwise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Marriage defines your destiny. It determines how far you go, and it can place a cap on your life. So you have all of the potentials within you. If you don't get the right support, you ain't going nowhere.
True. Because most of the times, which is where I'm getting to, you find women that are brilliant on their own. For instance, I'm talking for women because I am a woman. Just in case there's a man on the stream wondering, they're always talking about women. So you find a brilliant woman, a really brilliant woman on her own, but she doesn't become all of what she's supposed to become because of the experiences or the circumstances in her union. You find that some men will tell their wives, extremely brilliant women who have gone to school and come out with first class, they will tell them, you can't work. You have to stay at home. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with being a housewife or a homekeeper because you're building nation. But when it's against the woman's will, yes, then she becomes resentful. And then from there, years and years and years of seeing her mates and the dreams that she carried in her mind before getting married and everything, before you know it, mental wellness issues begin to happen. And then before you know it, they will say to me, your candidates are there in Yaba Left. And if you go to Yaba Left, honestly, like I have been and interviewed quite a few of the women, most of the issues that brought them there had to do with bonds that they had. that instead of empowering them, took out of them in one form or another. So what can counseling, professionals seeking help do to enable a woman even express herself, and speak up and say, these are the things that I'm fighting, that are keeping me down, and enables the partners or all involved see what they can do about resolving the issues in their favor amicably.
Okay, yet again, they say it takes two to tango. You know that marriage is the union of two people. So, in essence, your lives are bound together. And that's why before marriage, people should share their personal vision. Okay, they should share their expectations.
Before marriage, share your personal visions.
And that's that's one task that I know that professional counseling laws would take people through. Okay, so when I share my expectations, you share your expectations. You already know what I want to do. And so, it's not going to shock you in future when I say this is what I want to do. Okay? So, in the place of counseling, when people come, before they even go together, they share their visions, they share their values. Where this is, they share their 10-year goals so that when I decide in future that I want to do something, and that we see that happens many times, somebody comes along the line and says, look, I plan to do this, but because they never shared it, their spouse are not aware and tells them, look, you can't do this. And now you can't blame them. It's like somebody says, I have a vision to become a pastor as a woman, and then I'm going into it's a vision that I have had. I don't share it with my husband. And then 5 years up the line, I then say, this calling is about to manifest. And the man says, I don't want to marry a pastor. I didn't plan to marry a pastor. Okay, so the truth is, when people share their goals, long-term goals, when they share their expectations and all of these things, the couple are able to harmonize all of this. I can tell you this vision, okay, it is good, I will support you. The one that person knows cannot support, you discuss it ahead of time. So it's not going to create any issue. So if the two of you can go together on this journey, or if you cannot go together on this journey. So that is helpful. But then for people who are already married, what do? They have to hope for the best. Number one, I would suggest that, if it's the woman goes in for therapy, so that she can onboarding. So that, sometimes you even have some other things that are sources of challenges for you, but you don't really know that they are sources of pain. But when your counselor takes you on a journey of, some patterns, some experiences, you are able to identify all of those things. So the key question, when you now identify that these are my issues, I can't fulfill myself. Self-actualization in this marriage is zero. Where do you go from there? Yet again, what the counselor would ask is, what do you want to do? And like I said earlier, what counseling will help you do is, it's either you want to develop, counseling therapeutic goals that will help you cope with the situation so that the anger doesn't eat you up and take you into depression. Or you ask yourself, what do I want to do to get out of it? But the only way to get out of it is, sometimes some people say, look, I'm being submissive. I still want my marriage. Going ahead with this thing, defying my husband, is to create a problem. Some people value their relationships. So the starting point is help this person with coping mechanisms, and then find ways of appealing to the partner. If the person comes into therapy and really understands, what inability, what inability to fulfill this desire, to fulfill this dream is doing to this person. I believe that all things being equal, someone who is human, would understand that if you truly love, because when you love, you want the best. I believe that somewhere along the line, they're going to come together, and this person is going to allow this person ahead. But yet again, there are people that insist and say, no, it's not going to be. So then the person has to, decide what they want to do. Do they want to develop coping mechanisms and sit back and find some other passion, some other things that they can do? Because really, if you say you are in love and you want to stay within the relationship, you want to make something worthwhile out of the relationship, there will be other things this person wants to do. So as a counselor, you want to help the person explore. If this person says, I value my relationship. But then, of course, some people say, well, this thing, I want to fulfill my destiny. I want to maximize my own God-given potentials. Then at that point in time, do they still want to stay within this relationship if the partner is insisting and saying, oh, you can't have this? So yet again, it's a choice. The counselor would work with you to achieve your goals, your desired outcome.
Thank you. I know that at some point you talked about communication. It's very key in any relationship, whether filial, corporate, any relationship at all. Communication is very clear. I did hear you saying communication needs to be unambiguous, such that the person you're communicating to or with understands exactly what you feel, what you need per time, and what your expectations are. Could you please discuss some effective communication strategies, some conflict resolution strategies, skills, and methods for intimacy and connection within our bonds?
Okay, communication skills. There are things that we have been hearing, we have been reading about online, we have been taught. Seminars is just the key thing is the doing, because those strategies remain the same. Okay, so when we're talking about communication strategies that people adopt, listening skills is important. Okay, so when you listen to people, okay, and hear them accurately, you are able to give them the right response. Okay, and then you learn not to interrupt people when they talk, because when someone is talking and they don't have healthy self-esteem, or they are not people that are confident, and then each time they speak with you in your relationship, you shut them down. You know where they're going, you assume. Such people, it hurts them. Okay, so those are part of the things we need to learn. Not interrupting people when they talk. And then we need to learn empathy. You empathize with people when you communicate with them. You understand their perspectives. Okay, the fact that I understand your perspective does not mean that I must key into what you're saying, but it's hurtful when and that you want to go to Sapele. There are many routes to Sapele, but when you say it is one route that gets to Sapele, it can be hurtful because you're not listening to me. You're not listening to my perspective. So in communication, it's good that when we interact within a sphere of relationships, we must have an open mind. We must listen to other people's perspectives. And then we must be courteous. We must not be rude. Rudeness is a no-no. Things affect people differently. Some people, you can even abuse their father, their mother, their grandparents every hour of the day. It does nothing to them. But some people, you say something hurtful to them, and they take it back and they process it. So we need to learn all of these things. We need to learn to know what to say. Yes, sometimes we have that desire to say something. Okay, but timing is key. Okay, what we say is key. Our choice of words is key. From research, we have seen that use of words is just 7%. Okay, and that means it that the words that people speak are not important. They are, but then of course, non-verbal cues. And as a counselor, that's also very important, because in the place of counseling, you need to listen as well, because some people are not saying anything, but you are observing their eyes, their nose, their lips, their hands. So someone says something and clenches the fist. You already know that thing that they have said, is a source of pain or something to them. And then, you want to ask why. And maybe the person didn't even intend to talk about it. So, that's part of listening, very non-verbal cues. And then, the bit about timing, you know what to say, but timing is key. If you say it at the right time, it's going to lose its purpose. It's going to lose its objective. For people who are Christians, I don't know if I can share that. I always like to use the example of Abigail and Nabal. After she had gone to meet with David, and she came back, she wanted to speak with her husband. And then she saw that, he was intoxicated. Of course, if you had said something to someone in that moment, he's not going to understand the weight of what you're saying. So she left him and waited until the alcohol he has taken cleared. And then what she said, sank in. I don't want to say what happened to him afterwards. I'm not saying say this that will kill people, but then timing is key so that people will understand. And then when it comes to communication, some people say silence is golden. Yes, silence can be golden, because there are times you don't say anything, but in your quietness, you're speaking volumes. And the person you are interacting with, is very clear about, understands what you're not saying. But then again, sometimes silence is also not golden. So you need to let people know. You need to speak out when you need to speak out, because if you keep quiet when you need to speak, the other person is going to believe that you are contented with what is happening, or that you don't have anything to say, or that you don't have any expectation. Meanwhile, you have expectations. You have what you want to say. It's just that maybe you have adopted a wrong conflict resolution style of, yielding or withdrawing. Okay, so that's it. I think that's it on communication. And then, did you want us to say something on conflict?
On what?
On conflict.
Yes. How do we conflict resolution? What techniques can we use?
Okay, the same thing, when you take, when you take people through conflict management skills, number one, when you are even dealing with people, you need to understand the temperaments of the people that you are dealing with, because that also affects the way people resolve their conflicts. When you understand people's temperaments, you understand their preference for resolving conflicts. Okay, and then that's one. And then secondly, we also want to help people understand all of those conflict management styles. When one person insists that they must win. Okay, so in a relationship, imagine if it's a husband and wife, and one person wants to win all of the time. So it's always a win-lose. Of course, that the other person is going to be emotionally hurt. And when that persists, there's going to be emotional disconnection, because people run away from things that hurt them. Okay? You teach people that, look, you must always strive for a win-win situation sometimes. People understand what compromise is. Yes, compromise is I give up something, you also give up something, and then we meet ourselves halfway. While that can be a strategy that can work, because it's needful sometimes that we engage in compromise, we must not use it as a strategy all of the time, because it means that, we don't learn to make sacrifices, and sometimes you have to learn to make sacrifices. And then sometimes people yield in relationships, in conflict. Okay, so everything is yes, it is yes. And like I explained earlier, or they withdraw, they don't even want to face confrontation at all. Okay, so like I said earlier, that is also not good, because you are not allowing this person understand how you feel. Perhaps if they understand how you feel, you are able to meet yourselves on the table, okay, and work out issues. But when you keep, withdrawing and you keep yielding, okay, this is the way. Yes, we're going to Lome. Yes, all of the time. Meanwhile, you know that Lome is going to end in disaster. So people learn to understand at the end of the day that the overall objective, when we want to enjoy our relationships, when we want to strengthen our relationships, when we want to empower our bonds, we must strive to resolve our issues. And that means that, people must be willing to be open-minded. Okay, they must be flexible. Okay, you must understand that, look, life is not always one way. See the perspectives of the other person, so that we take one here, we take one here. And in relationships or family settings, for example, I always tell people that, look, it's not about, it has nothing to do with pride. What you're looking out for is the overall good in that relationship, whatever the relationship is. That is a boss and a reportee. Okay, so your reportee has a better idea, because you want to look good and know it all of the time. So every good idea, you're turning it down. Or the husband thinks, because I am the head, it must be my way. At the end of the day, people lose that, because you can't enjoy the benefits, that you get from the experiences, from the wealth of knowledge of the people that you interact with. So they must be open-minded, they must be flexible in our mindset.
Interesting, very interesting. Thank you so much. Like we all know, or like we should all know, a marriage is a partnership. Relationships are partnerships, of two human beings or more. And we must come at it with open mind, accepting other people's perspectives, compromising when we need to, aligning when we have to, with the overall good of all concerned at the heart of everything that we do part time. Thank you so very much. It's been a very long conversation, so let's be winding it down. And like I said, the glitches we encountered today were just so much, and that's because someone needed to hear something today, and I hope that the person is getting it right now. So looking ahead, I want to talk about mental health. Mental health. Some of these things, they start happening as very little things, and then we keep pushing them under the rug. You know how they say we pack things under the rug, until one day the rug is now a heap. It has a heap of things we put under it, and then we can no longer walk around it or walk on it. And all of these things that we don't resolve, that we don't communicate, that we don't talk about, that we don't table at the right time, like Toyin said, because we women, we talk a lot, and it's not all the time that is right for us to talk. I personally think that marriage is, or marriage or any union, any relationship, it's all about negotiations. And it depends on what skills you have for negotiations and when you decide to do your negotiations. So how can women do better in their relationships so that they don't have things piled up that will eventually affect their mental health and make them look unstable? Because you see, in most cases that have gone to the law courts, the men always will say the women are unstable in thought, unstable in action, And that's because we're very emotional. And then when we get emotional, we say a lot of things we're not supposed to say and do things we're not supposed to do. So, how do we decide to resolve earlier? What should we do? My question is long and winding, but I'm sure you get it.
Okay, so what should we do to ensure, if I can summarize it, what you're saying in essence is, okay, so when we go through all of these challenges, what do we do so that we don't allow them to um, impact negatively on our mental health?
Exactly.
Okay, it's very simple. There's the adage that says, know thyself. Okay, so when things are a source of concern to us, it's always good that we unburden. It's always good that we seek help. Okay, so people, when you go in for counseling, especially, your counselor helps you to understand your emotion. Okay, helps you to understand, the triggers that you have, helps you to understand how, some experiences are impacting on your relationship, and then, you are able to move on therefrom, because you yourself on your own, because, there is one thing that's peculiar to counseling, and that's the fact that we say the answer lies with the client. Counseling will tell you that the client is the expert. And that is because, if you go to see your physician and you say you have pain, all he will try to ascertain is what's the degree of pain. And that is what is going to determine the, is it the milligram or the type of analgesic that he's going to give. But then, of course, when you come in for counseling, I say I have emotional distress. What the counselor is going to help you to do is navigate through questioning skills. Okay, then maybe use assessment to help you find out what is wrong with you, because sometimes we know the issues that are bothering us, but sometimes, yet again, we don't know. But when people seek timely help, I like to use that word timely, because sometimes people sit back until they realize that, the issues that they have, the emotional distress that they have, is beginning to take a toll on their emotional wellness, on their psychological wellness, on their mental wellness. And then that's when they go in for help. And then you then know that, their therapy process is going to take a longer time. But when people know that, look, I have this issue and it is there, and they seek help on time, they find help and they find healing. And the truth is, sometimes, something as simple as group therapy, even when you're not even seeing a professional, you're in group, discussing with a group of women. For me, I enjoy, those outings with the ladies, because by the time I'm done, I feel as if the entire weight is gone off me. And I'll give you even one example. Okay, so I was in group therapy with some colleagues. We're taking the same course together. And in the last 3 weeks, I was actually very sick. For 3 days, for the first time in my life, I didn't get out of the room. So I wanted to join that group therapy. I was in bed in my dressing gown. Of course, my video was off. But then by the time we started talking, and I think I went first, and I spoke about the emotional distress that sickness was causing me, because I had a lot of things I wanted to do. Some of them had timelines, but I just lacked the energy. Each time I tried to get out of it, I just couldn't. But guess what? By the time I spoke, people, spoke to what I had said. Other people spoke about their issues, and then I also learned from the issues. That night I stepped into our living room in 3 days. 3 days I had not stepped, but that therapy, unburdening, listening to other people, sharing my concerns, okay, and my frustrations, it helped me. It was as if it took away all of my sickness and I got out of it. So that's what talking does to people. So people can really get help, and they can get healed and become wholesome people when they seek timely help.
Thank you. Did you see how I was nodding my head? Unburdening, group therapy, unburdening works for me personally all the time. There is power in opening your mouth and speaking about the way you feel. There is power in speaking to a group of counselors or women who who will listen. I mean, there's a word you used here called empathy. Empathy is a very deep word. I used to think I knew the meaning until I started delving into it. It is not sympathy. Every person on this call today, please look up the meaning of that word empathy. When you find someone, a counselor, a friend, someone who has empathy, who understands empathy, and they are listening to you, it will almost be as if you went to see a doctor and then you got medicine for whatever was ailing you. I do connect to that sharing that you did just right now. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tony. Could you please tell our listeners where they can find more information or resources if they're interested in learning more about counseling services? While you're doing this, please also tell us where we can find you, because a lot of us on the stream do need you. So you know the way we are. We want to do our things in private and exclusive. So please, could you put out your details and other details that you think might be important and necessary for anyone who is listening on this show who wants to empower the bonds in their lives?
Okay, where people can find access to more information on counseling, I would say they should just go online. There's hardly any information that you want online that you cannot get. Google the subject and you get to learn a whole lot about it. You get to learn a whole lot about it. And there are also books that people can read. Okay, I mean, if you Google, counseling books and put the topic, a lot of people have done a lot of work that, will be very helpful for us. Have I answered that question?
Well, if that is the best you want to do, then that's fine. So women, we have to read. Whether we like it or not, we have to read.
But
so Toyin,
what did you want to say? No, I'm with you.
I was going ahead to ask you to give us your final insights or messages you'd like to share with the audience.
But then, of course, before I do that, when people want to learn more about counseling, you can reach out. We have loads and loads of counselors, out there. Reach out to them, and I'm sure they will provide the information that you require, the service that you require. And for me, okay, so where can you find me? Social media, you can find me on Instagram at Toyin Soneye. On Facebook, you can find Toyin Soneye. On LinkedIn, you can find Toyin Soneye. And for the business, the Comfort Books, you can find on Instagram at the Comfort Books.
Thank you. I like the name of your business, Comfort Books. It paints the imagery of, for me, I see the rush of water, just falling down.
That's the idea.
And it's just coming down. And I'm just sitting down on a small bench and with my arms on the bench like that. And I'm just letting it all wash all over me. I feel like if I come to talk to you, I'll find a lot of comfort for my soul. That's what the imagery of your business name gives to me. So thank you very much, Toyin, for sharing your expertise and insights with us today. Apologies for all the numerous glitches that we faced, but we surmounted and we will keep surmounting. It's been an enlightening conversation, and I'm sure our listeners have gained valuable knowledge and perspectives on the power of professional counseling in empowering bonds. The importance of a healthy relationship cannot be overemphasized. And more so today, you have taught us that the family is the smallest unit of a nation, and we that are in family units, building relationships, are actually building new nations. That for me is a major take from this conversation, and I know that many other women will also connect. So thank you very, very, very much for your time. Now, dear OPU women, you have heard it from the professional counselor. It's been an amazing discuss. My advice would be to approach counseling with an open mind and a willingness to engage in the process. It's okay to feel hesitant or uncertain at first, but know that seeking help is a courageous step towards growth and healing. Irreconcilable differences can be dealt with if we start out early to seek help. Find a counselor who you feel comfortable with and whom you trust, or whom you can grow to trust. You will know on your first meeting. And then don't be afraid to ask questions or express your concerns. Remember, like I've been saying, if the bond is worth it, then let's invest in saving it or making it better. Listen, you're not alone, my dear woman. Certainly not. All of us are dealing with one thing or the other, and we all need help in one way or another. So ditch the shame thing. Ditch the "is it only me" thing. No, it's not only you. We're all in there. So, and begin to explore the support available to help you navigate life's challenges and empower your bonds and empower yourself and also empower others. We can do this for ourselves, and you can help another woman by sharing this stream so that somebody else gets the knowledge they need and find the help they need. It must not be basbos all the time. Some of these things that ail us are easily explainable. People have taken their time to learn how to help us. So let's go to them for the help that we need. Excuse me. So let's go find these professionals for the help that we need. Yeah? So this is the much we can take today on the show. Sorry, excuse me again. This is the much we can take on the show today. Thank you to everyone who is involved in creating this magic every time. Starting with you, our dear listeners, our guests, and our amazing OPU team. Join us next week for another captivating episode. Remember, if you or someone you know could benefit from professional counseling, do not hesitate to reach out for support. Until next time, please follow us on all our social media platforms. Remember to get our books. Remember to get the books that Toyin talked about. See, empowerment that is external is usually not lasting. So learn to dig out some things for yourself. The help you need, seek it out yourself. And then please keep staying positive, keep believing, change your perspective if you need to. And until next time, stay empowered, keep nurturing those bonds, and goodbye for now. My name is Ezine Kufre Kanem, and I love you. And from Toyin and myself is Up You.
Up you. Bye, everyone. Enjoy an amazing day.
Thank you. Bye. Up You.